Whee. Oh no, I'm going to lose the music. Oh well, doesn't matter. Hello everyone, I hope you are all well. So I'll give you a minute or so to all come in. I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be some questions today, so I may let those filter through before I properly start the game. For those of you wondering, have I watched the Rupert Lowe Joe Rogan thing? Yes, I have. It was garbage. It's just boring. It's just boring. It's everything I've heard from him before a million times over. And I can tell my work's done on it all because now other people are clipping it and reporting on what he says. So as far as I'm concerned, my work to point out that Rupert Lowe is effectively a sort of centre-right Thatcherite, which in principle I've got no problem with him actually. You know, I'm pretty much there anyway. It completely neuters all the ethno-nationalists who keep, well, they now understand that all he does is post-coal, as Sumer Historium himself has pointed out before, so what else do you want? In terms of Clacton by-election, I'm still very bullish on it. You know, I'm open to it being a bad idea, fine, but it's certainly not a disaster like some people are saying. I mean, one thing that is going to be keynote is it is going to be Farage centre of attention with a megaphone to say what he likes. So, Alistair Campbell's going on trigonometry. Well, that would be more interesting than Rupert Lowe, I can guarantee that, because at least he'll actually have some pushback, and it's, you know, it's good to see all that. You know, because Alistair Campbell gets away with a lot, and I can't believe how sort of washed and laundered his his image, considering. Conservative versus Restore, who would you vote for? I'd probably just emigrate. I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say Restore, just because I viscerally hate the Tories, but I mean, you're basically voting for the same thing there, to be honest. One just comes with absolute morons in the membership. Am I talking Conservatives or Restore? Who knows, but yeah, neither are going to do anything to fix the country for surprisingly similar reasons, so there you go. But no, there's a few of you in now, so I don't see the problem with starting. Don't be afraid to ask questions, though. I'm perfectly fine to address things as I'm going through. So, but we'll carry on with Swordland, and I need to remember where I was up to. Couldn't even get 5 minutes through the Rogan podcast. I don't blame you. There's literally, you will save 2 hours of your life just not going through it. Yeah, it's not worth it. People who weren't around for Brexit years are being reminded how corrupt the Westminster system is. They don't even care about the country, only power, no shame at all. Well, pretty much. Well, this is why, I had someone in my comments saying, oh, you know, if this was anyone else, you know, anyone else calling a by-election, you'd have nothing but bad things to say about it. And it's like, at the very least, say it's ballsy, because it is. But again, why is he doing it? Because he doesn't trust the process, because why would he? The process is trying to take him out. And he's trying to get on the front foot for what's probably going to be inevitable anyway, so why would I not think it's a good move? But yeah, I mean, Restorers, as far as I'm concerned, they are the most, some people use a word beginning with R, but I'm going to say cooked, because I want to go back to those sweet 2018 days. It's the best imaginary VTuber streamer, Haryan. Do people actually want me to be fair, I wonder how much it would be to commission a little sort of Haryan night, you know, like a 3D model one to use as a VTuber. There's something going on in my life, I will say, that might make funds for that possible, possibly by the end of the year, so you might be lucky for the next year when it comes to the gaming streams. We'll leave it at that. It's nothing major, I'm just looking for a new job, but I should be on way more than I am. Right, so what's in the news? Central Bank Act, a stronghold for Soldord. Did I pass that act? I believe I did. Yes, I did. Right. Which I don't particularly like, so I don't really like central banks and what they do. They're not exactly free market, but, well, the economy's in danger and I got scared. Now I understand how we managed to decline. I bet Cero would know everything about making you a VTuber. I might ask him for help then. From what I've heard, depending on what you want, they can be silly expensive. I mean, you know, My imagined budget was something in the range of like £200 to £500. I wasn't expecting cheap, so. I'm a trigonometry member, so they might ask him my question. I've asked if he accepts that diversity has ushered in by new Labour has negative consequences. To be honest with you, I imagine they'll ask that anyway, but yeah, I hope they do ask him that, because that is a major thing they need to ask. Op-ed, a misguided attempt to control. Yeah, so this is the Free Trade Committee are not happy with the Central Bank Reinforcement Act, but at the end of the day, you know, if I see this roller coaster, I'm going to panic. So yeah, budget allocation for healthcare. Oh, this is going to be good. I was having my afternoon tea in the State House office in Dyer and going through the newspaper. One of the headlines piqued my interest. It read, "Polio Crisis in Welland." Before I could start reading, oh, poor Whitehouse, I heard a couple of knocks. Pascal entered, followed by Lucian. "Mr. President." Hang on, no, I do TF2 spy for this. "Mr. President, it is time for the scheduled healthcare meeting. Good afternoon. Please take your seats." They're taking their seats, and Pascal produced documents from a suitcase. He had put them on the table. Pascal looked at the newspaper I was reading. "Very troubling news from Welland, Mr. President. I've just returned from a meeting with our top scientists in the matter of polio. It seems to be spreading. Indeed, might have dire consequences. I'm not worried it will stop before it reaches Swordland. Yeah, what we're doing to prepare. I assume it's a vaccine thing. We have notified all our healthcare staff, especially the ones close to Welland border. Fortunately, these are also the more rural areas where we lack equipment and staff. What I was told by our researchers was that the current infection rates, there will soon be millions of people affected by polio. We will need to be ready for any possibility. I doubt it is that serious yet. Regardless, back to the topic. Mr. Bennywell." Pascal put his reading glasses on and went through the documents. He didn't say anything for a whole minute. "Mr. Bennywell?" Yes, of course. Let's start." He put the papers down, cleared his throat and looked at me. "In general, the Ministry is somewhat content with the budget decision that was made. At least we don't get a cut. But I'm still happy that the administration. I'm still happy that the administration continues to support healthcare at the same level as before, though this limits our options significantly. Our health service seems to be working fine and doesn't require investment. We'll have to make do with what we have. I want to have the lead on the way in the solution in that, because yeah, like our economy's in the toilet. What are we supposed to do? Adds helmet. Flip open ability, which just shows another metal helmet, costs 200,000 to open the helmet for 12 seconds. I'm not going to bother with opening the helmet, believe it or not. I don't see many ways out of this particular situation. We need to fund to bring improvements. As you know, I've been preparing a new privatisation programme that will create funds through selling of unused ministry property and some extra taxes. Might not go against our strategy to promote the market economy, but I'm personally against privatisation of government services. Vital services should be under state control. Aside from creating additional funds, there is a long-term problem with privatisation in a country like Swordland. I don't see a problem. It will create additional funds, you're right. No, I don't see a problem. Like, I'm a free market guy. Well, no, it wouldn't. Privatisation would be fair if our healthcare standards were high and accessible for all. The market should take care of it by itself. Can't regulate people like that. This is not Caucasia nor Lesbia. You are talking about Swordland, in which the healthcare is free for now. We have people who have their lives depending on a service that is free to them. Messing with the structure will definitely hurt us politically in the future. I know that for sure. The choice is yours, Mr. President. Private privatisation allow the private sector to invest in health properties. Yeah, we'll do that. Excellent. We can turn their extra money to something useful. I shall let my partners know. I do not think this was the right choice. Since we have the extra funds, the spending policy question remains. I urge you to consider these proposals. We could build new hospitals where necessary, divert funds to increase the salaries of our health workers, or invest in enhancing the existing treatment facilities in rural areas. Each of these options presents a unique path towards improving healthcare access and quality in Swordland. Building a new hospital, increased salaries should have a good effect on the staff. Improve treatment in rural areas, it would prevent mistreatment, disease and sickness. If you build hospitals, then people see it. If you increase salaries, then the public sector workers are happy. If you improve treatments in rural areas, that should help with the polio pandemic that is almost certainly coming in, as some people would say in the chat. Chekhov's gun, etc, etc, etc. I think I'm going to go with the safest option, go hospitals though. While the construction of new hospitals is an appealing idea, I personally don't see it as a primary concern. In my view, the pressing issue lies in the quality and accessibility of healthcare in remote areas. Adding new healthcare facilities will be a positive step, particularly in underserved regions. Constructing new hospitals would score a significant political points. It's visible, tangible improvements that can present as our achievement. What about increasing salaries? There's merit in the proposal to increase salaries for all health staff with an extra emphasis on rural areas. This approach could incentivise doctors and nurses to work in those regions where their services are desperately needed. On a larger scale, it will boost satisfaction within the health industry and could contribute significantly to reducing maternal mortality rates, a goal that is close to my heart. Metropolitan areas are already reaping the benefits of our policies. Rural regions, which trail behind in income, deserve some attention. However, implementing a nationwide proportional salary boost would pay off politically. Alright, what about the rural areas? We must halve the poor, prepare the 13th century battle axe. Yeah, I hope people get the reference to my title of Have You Tried End the Poor? Obviously I couldn't use the K word, but that's what's in the original sketch. The sad reality is that our rural clinics are woefully outdated, ill-equipped and understaffed. The stark disparity between urban and rural healthcare is a major contributor to the high maternal mortality rates and prevalence of other diseases in our rural communities. Addressing this issue is one of my key objectives in this term, and I believe an overhaul of the rural healthcare infrastructure is a critical step in that direction. We're seeing an uptick in minor outbreaks in specific regions. It's largely due to outdated facilities that lack proper hygiene standards and equipment. Alright, let's make a decision. In my books, The Unfortunate Men, I depict the hardship of a poor mining family, a vivid illustration of the stark health inequalities in our society. Minister of Health, I strive to rectify these disparities. Therefore, I believe improving the treatment in rural areas should be our course of action, Mr. President. Thing is, if that's like the choice of the centrally planned ones, it makes sense, and then new hospitals can be built, presumably, by the private sector in rural, urban areas, because that's where they'll make more money, and it's where rich people are, so, I think that makes sense. It would be best to consider the political advantages of each one, as well as the practical advantages before making a decision. A few minutes to contemplate. So it's either full rural balancing act or full urban. I think I'm going to go full rural after all that, though, simply because I like Pascal, he looks like Paul Whitehouse, and therefore I'll do what he wants. Improve rural treatment by hiring health staff and upgrading equipment in rural areas. New contracts for improvements will be drawn up immediately. Well, that wraps up our discussion for now. Very well, fruitful meeting nevertheless. Nice and short. Thank you for the meeting. Pascal gathered his documents and left along with Lucien. Oh, that's a lot of situation updates. Failed education reform, excuse me? Health privatisation. To address healthcare challenges and improve services, government has proposed a health privatisation plan. Well, I knew that. The government of Swordsland has a traditional education system which has been characterised by the promotion of a nationalistic identity, fine, and limited intellectual freedom. Not so fine. Half-baked measures by the education has failed, causing disruption in education due to lack of funds. The education sector plays a critical role in the country. Oh, that's annoying. So there's unequal access to medical services. I knew there would be, I'm fine with that. Right, so we've kept solist education. We've got good rural healthcare, so there we go. Government's iron grip on health ends. Well, the economists would like that. Report of a bloodish men crossing border to fight against Welland. Well, that's Welland's problem. A real threat to public healthcare. The communists would hate that. Thousands protest new governor of Helgeland. Well, there you go. Right. Talks with Franz Richter on the upcoming vote. What vote is this? The preparations for the new constitution were nearly complete. Right, is that one. Cool. Soon we were going to propose it in the Grand National Assembly, a huge step for the administration. But we desperately needed more support. That's why I had invited Franz Richter for chat for an upcoming vote. He and his party held the key to our success. We met at the presidential office at the end of the day. He arrived in his signature navy blue suit and handed me a box of famous Arcasian chocolates before sitting down on the couch. Oh, thank you for the gift. Oh, it's nothing, Mr. Rain. He took a folder. He looks a little bit like, what's his name? Justin Trudeau. Probably not too much of a mistake. Took a folder out from his briefcase, flipped it open. I could see the scribbles he'd made in the margins of my draft proposal. I have to say, I'm surprised by this proposal you've prepared for the new constitution. I do not understand the reasoning behind some of the changes. Well, what don't you understand? People forget the system tried tossing out a democratic vote, buggered Johnson's parliament, and tried putting Aaron Banks in jail. People are being reminded in real time of how corrupt Westminster is. It's not as bad as America, shockingly. Ask Alistair Campbell if he killed Dr. David Kelly. The immediate PTSD response that completely makes him lose his composure is both telling and amusing. I don't know where to begin. You have ignored our demands to lower the undemocratic electoral threshold. How are you calling this a democratic package? You prefer Sol's constitution? These are all necessary to... Well, yeah, we need to maintain stability. Necessary? What kind of an excuse is that, Mr. President? Best kind? Are you saying that while you're begging me for my party's support? And you're saying this while begging me for my party's support? Be it small or great, a step forward is a step forward. Still can't believe... I still believe we can accomplish meaningful change. Well, step forward to step forward. Well, it's true, it shouldn't stop anyone from trying their best. That being said, I may be willing to support this proposal, even though I don't find it sufficient. However, I'm still not sure what to make of it. You're going to miss our chance for reforms just because you don't contain everything you want. What you're thinking about, what you need to do is say yes. Seriously, like, yeah, why are you being such a purist? I say with my cigar in my mouth. You're putting all the reformists in a tough spot like this. I'm sure it was tough to persuade your party to support this proposal, but this is what happens when you expect the UPS to bring change. Don't expect me to sympathise with you. Not only have you minimised potential for the reforms, you're taking the spotlight away from the PFJP members who campaigned for these reforms for years. You better have something better to offer. So you look for political game, see idealists asking for a bribe. I have nothing to offer but democracy. The idealists asking for a bribe? Who said anything about a bribe? I value Swordland and democracy more than anything, Mr. President, and I also have to look out for myself and the party. Surely you understand. And if we're talking about democracy here, I first need to trust your agenda. Currently I do not. The first bill you signed effectively removed all other parties from funding. You are hijacking the elections from the very start. How can we trust you now? What bill was that? Are we talking about the one that didn't affect the Bloodish very well? Sorry, but they are terrorists. Increased your funding. It was passed by the Assembly. All I did was sign it into law. Passed it. Well, yeah, it was passed by the Assembly. Exactly. You did sign it into law and did not use your veto on it. I think it's too late to fix anything now. I can't see any deals being made. It's a shame things won't work out between us. Nothing a check worth close to $1 million couldn't handle. Try and give you a cabinet position. I can give you a cabinet position. Are you joking? No, there may be a vacancy sooner or later. I can't believe you'd offer such a thing. Alright, here's what I'll say. Try my best to convince my people to support this proposal, even though they have their problems with it. I can't promise you full support, but then you can't promise me anything either. If everything works out, I'll expect you at least try to fulfill your promise. If you can give me a cabinet position after we enact reforms, I'll be a great partner to have on the inside. He's getting education. Hello, once again, Haryan. Do you think anything will happen to the media after the handling of Farage's family? It's hard to say, really. The media get away with a lot. Well, I don't know. Leveson was massive back in the day. It was a bit before my time, but I remember it being all over the news, and it did pretty much kill off the news of the world. So I don't know. It depends on a lot, on how good the lawyers are, on whether anything technically was broken. At the very least, I would suspect that at this point, KCs within Millbank Tower for reform are looking into how they can, well, at least bring the Times and Sky to court. I think they're also looking into how the 5 million bank statement got leaked, because they think that's either from the bank or the NCA, the National Crime Agency. So, you know, they're looking at options. The fascinating is this looks coordinated attack when the NCA appeared to have leaked private financial info. Times published addresses and Sky harassed his daughter. I will say, Times didn't technically publish addresses, they published pictures of the houses, but they weren't that difficult to find. Sky did harass his daughter, and they had to backtrack on that. They are the most embarrassed out of this, and I hope we end up going. I hope someone ends up in court over it. Yeah, it's. I mean, this is why when people are like, oh my god, but what about the 5 million? It's like, we shouldn't even know about that. Sorry, but how many people should we have access to all of their bank statements? It's ridiculous. Sorry, I don't care how much it was. I've not seen Christopher Holborn get anything from any of this. He's donated millions to Boris Johnson before as well to nothing. You know, the guy's just insanely rich, and that's probably 20 quid to him. Sorry, I just do not care. Unless there's something concrete, I'm not having 5 million was given to Farage as anything remotely meaningful. The amount of money lefties get as well from all these NGOs and stuff just... Would the bond market go nuts if Farage was defeated? Yeah, probably. Is it a uniparty moment to stop reform, possible restore involvement? Oh yeah. Like, uniparty moments are happening all the time. Uniparty moment, they've all said they're not standing after saying he's an unelectable, unfit for office moron. Yeah, this is a uniparty moment, completely. I'll do my best. That's not really promising anything. Great, then we have a deal. Is there anything else? No, I don't know what I've heard about him. I can't really remember. It's nice to have a president that we can finally have a dialogue with. He laughed. I'll see you in the history books. Have a nice evening for now. He left the room. Grand. Use Richterback's Reign's reforms. Victory Day celebrations. Okay. Reign meets Richter. Yeah, whatever. Finalisation of the new mega project contract. Oh wow, that was quick. We met with Simon and Gus to pick a company for our new government project. Port of Morna was a massive investment and many construction companies already wanted to take the contract for it. Simon was ready to brief me about the top 3 contenders. Besides supporting our economic recovery and expanding our sea network, this project will boost our trade heavily. That is a given now. This project will improve so many things for sure. These people have the exact same voice, by the way. This isn't good. Well, there's only so many people in the world, some voices are bound to be similar. Simon started searching the documents he was holding for a while. He spoke when he found what he was looking for. I have the overview of the companies here. He handed the files over to me. Alright, I looked at the files. 3 corporations were listed: Swordish State Corporation, Underhall Construction, and Taurus Holding. I've reviewed the listed companies, and I also wrote down some notes and ideas. Which corporations should we talk about? What's the Swordish State one? The respected Swordish State Corporation, also known as the SSC, was founded in 1891. The main state corporation tasked with running day-to-day construction services of our country. This is the primary reason why our infrastructure is outdated as it is. We need more adaptive construction companies. The disadvantage will be going against your election promises of moving away from state-dominated economy. The Swordish State Corporation lacks a modern way of thinking, and they also underperform with their slow construction methods. Look at the abysmal regional railway system. They do have a wealth of knowledge and infrastructure. I don't share a great admiration for the SSC, but their track record clearly shows completed contracts with thousands of employees of experience. According to the preliminary calculations of the SSC, they would need more resources to finish a project this size. I'm on the fence about that to them. Underhall Construction. The real estate and construction giant was founded in 1925, and they expanded during the economic boom of the 30s. In this corporation would fit our economic market policy. The CEO of Underhall is Chris Shah, the mayor of Conriath. He sold half of his shares a few years ago, but he seemed eager on our mega project. I had the chance to work with Underhall Construction before in Holsword. They took several contracts from the central station renovation and excelled. How was your experience? Out of all three, this company I can trust. They work hard, long, and fast to accomplish their contracts. We'll get it done if we give in to them. Not sure about trusting them with such a big contract, especially after the workers issue, but at least they have worked on several mega projects and always deliver on time. Well, we need to be able to trust the corporation that saw this HS2. Oh no. I think their capabilities are very suitable for a project like this. They worked on 2 infrastructure projects in Gelsland and another one in Greater Holsord that were worth 2 billion ren. Underhull has specifically mentioned their solid track record and highlighted that the costs of the project would be more than expected for a project of this scale, but finished on time. Well, let's have a quick look at the last one, Taurus Holding. Taurus Holding was founded in 1946 and is owned by the entrepreneur Gerald Fias. Is that the wine dealer guy from the last episode who's clearly Geralt of Rivia? It is a new holding company whose subsidiaries use cutting-edge technology from Arcasia to reduce construction costs and prices, and don't provide for the workers who are part of the labour union of Soldord. They're a very interesting corporation, especially because of their innovative construction methods, but aren't suitable for large projects like this. Well, why should we pick them then? It would fit our election promises of switching to a free market economy. Awarding contracts to privately owned corporations would be a step in the right direction. Completed fewer projects than the others, however they are slightly faster and cheaper, and won several awards internationally for being one of the fastest growing advanced companies. Seems like they lack experience, eh? Exactly, and that's why take such a risk when we need to play it safe with companies like Underhull. They're always delivered for the government on time. The project manager from Taurus Holding mentioned that they would be able to finish the project within the allocated funding. They found the budget sufficient, unlike Underhull, making them a cheaper alternative. Well, that's worth considering. It's time to make a decision. Settle for the SSC, go Underhull, or settle on Taurus. I reckon go Underhull. Sort of seems the best choice. Good. Well, then we are staying consistent with our economic strategy. Simon sighed for a certain section of the dossier and fixed his glasses. Very well, Mr. President. The construction will be awarded to Underhull Construction. Very glad that you have made this choice. I can tell you from my experience we will be very satisfied with the company. The company will be modified today and the construction work will begin immediately. Great news. Thank you, fellas. My expectations for a grand opening ceremony are late next year. I'll be returning to my duties. See you soon, Mr. President. Thank you. That concludes our meeting. Goodness me. Assignment started. Oh. Low industrial output, seaport under construction. Nice. Oh, I hope something happens. What's happening in Valden? Updates on the education situation or a call from Gus? We'll bite the bullet and do the education because the education has not gone well. Go on. After a meeting with Rector and a brief tour of the University of Valgan, we gathered in a room with Chiara. The entire campus was visible from the window. Students were reading books, studying, and having picnics under the trees. It reminded me of my own times in Lochhaven Business School, at times the more carefree moments. Reminiscing about the past? How were your university years? The usual story with a few friends dead, a couple of them missing after the coups. Oh, I was almost arrested once. Not good memories, you should try and be a bit more optimistic. Damn, I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay, many of us have experienced similar stories. Let's not get sidetracked. I want to start off by saying this. Stagnation doesn't get anyone anywhere. Simply maintaining my ministry's funds has got us sitting duck with the dozens of issues left unsolvable. The state, having had to rely on privatization funds, is a disgrace, by letting private interest meddle in the most essential services. Learning. Private schools are increasing the disparity of service in education. Low-income households can't afford the private schools in their districts and might need to send their children to a public school far away. Though I insist that funds are still necessary to close the gaps in services, I can't say we have been entirely off track. I want to thank you for leading our education system in the right direction. Traditional teaching has long prevented proper progress. Well, you played a huge part too, to be fair. But Swordland will always need ditch diggers, that is true. She nodded and brought the stack of papers from her bag. Spinning her ballpoint pen, she went through the papers, organising some of them together. Give them spoons. Yeah, then more can be hired, that's true. Our ministry has prepared the necessary framework regarding how to spend the funds we gained through school privatisation. I've outlined 3 potential options. Build new rural schools, improve the standards of existing ones, or increase the salaries for all education workers. Capacity to implement only one of these options. Well, rural schools. The issue was very critical. We're losing many young people to ignorance and illiteracy, and Swordland's rural population is full of untapped potential. With enough education, these people could be the asset our workforce and society. Look at how United Continent is pushing past Arcasia in education and research. Most of the rural populace has access to schools. Alright, why increase the salaries? The job itself should be held in higher regard and be compensated. There are people who have chosen to dedicate themselves to a betterment of others, to helping raise the next generation, and we ought to give them what they deserve. What about improving the rural school? What does improving rural schools entail? At the very least, they need new equipment and materials. Many of these schools are facing a shortage of desks and textbooks. The ones that aren't haven't been updated since before the Sol administration. Teachers lack the resources to give Swordish youth a proper education. It can be as bad as if they don't go to school at all. Cool, I'm ready. Yeah, let's build new rural schools. I feel gratifying that we are finally serving the people directly. Pass it down to the ministry. That's all there is for now. I have talked with Mr. Suro to schedule some time to discuss the curriculum. She's a very astute woman, your secretary. You may want to consider promoting her. We'll meet again very soon. Keep up the good work, Kiara. She put the papers back in her bag and left the meeting. Cool. Accessible rural education. That's ideal. I want a better economy. New mega project. Overland rights case appeal. Politically motivated controversial court case by the bloodish guy. The bloodish lawyer has made its way to the Supreme Court to be reviewed. Oh god. Person case goes to Supreme Court. Press freedoms in UC, diminishing space. Oh, Contana. Yeah, I'm not shocked about that one. Accessible rural education. We're not doing too bad in these situations, I'd say. There's corruption. That's pretty bad. Need more allies diplomatically. Uh-oh, Spagudios. Oh god, this isn't good. Right, call from Gus Manga. The sun is setting over Wholesword. I was in my office working on the preliminary details that Kiara sent over about the curriculum. Phone rang and I picked up. Mr. President? Yes, what is it? Mr. Mango's on the line, sir. He said it's about an investment. Ooh. Excellent. Connect him. As you wish. A momentary crackling noise indicated the line change. I read that, like Weatherspoons, Swordland could do with the cheeky spoons. Oh, true. Well, what do I owe the pleasure? Mr. President, as your secretary might have informed you, I'm calling that what we discussed at the party. The Tony Tiger has just become a member. Thank you very much for your support, Mr. Tiger. I'm honestly very glad that I have decided to attend Mr. Vice President's little gathering. A very enjoyable party turned out and even more enjoyable with actual results. Well, let's hear the results. Well, I'm very happy to inform you that your investment to procure the vineyard in Elroy has been accepted by the current resident. Now the owner of a lovely vineyard, a beautiful villa and a sizable land. As I mentioned before, there might be some cost related to refurbishment, the winemaking equipment, however, the facilities are there. I will have the deed and the keys sent to you immediately. Congratulations are in order, Mr. President. Thank you, this wouldn't be possible without you. Thank you, Mr. President. You're too kind. I'm looking forward to a more successful ventures we might do together in the future. Thank you for your time. Thanks again. Bye now. Bye. Line dropped. I own a wine country. Oh, and I'm a millionaire. Sick. That's not good. Briefing on the current curriculum in schools. Yeah, alright. Chiara scheduled a short meeting at the Ministry of Education to discuss the current curriculum taught in schools. The Ministry building was located in the government district right next to the Ministry of Health. It was tall, narrow and wedge-shaped. Gawain Taylor said the Tories are like a veneer, good on the surface and then rotten the more you look. They perform for PMQs but don't mean it. Yet the over 50s still persist to keep them alive. To be honest, the over 50s are what's keeping reform alive. From what I can tell, the main problem with getting the rest of the Tories over to reform is just having a concrete economic plan. So hopefully Robert Jenrick puts a big plan together and it just looks great. Really thought you joined ages ago, but great for the level-headed commentary. Well, you know what? Better late than never. Just being a subscriber has meant a lot to me anyway, so do not worry about it. The next front gates, there were many statues of world-renowned scientists and thinkers. The largest, of course, was Artfin Einstein, the greatest scientist of all time. Obviously that's Albert Einstein. Above the main entrance was a familiar inscription. Instratensis Anginica av Geregna Int Ola Almerg Walten Int Ola Mexis. I butchered that. Education is the premise of progress in all societies, in all families. Inside the building, I was greeted by Chiara's assistant. They led me into a meeting room where she was waiting inside, and she stood up and gripped my hand. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Afternoon, Chiara. I'll cut straight to the chase. The lack of government resources has halted our plans for education reform, but there is one important change that is still to be made, and that's evolution versus creationism. As it currently stands, schools across Swordland can decide whether to include evolution, creationism, or both to their curriculum. Rural schools often decide for creationism only, which puts students at a disadvantage when it comes to entering university. The effect is especially noticeable among young women. My suggestion is to make the teaching of evolution mandatory and preferably ban creationism altogether. I don't see a problem with evolution is the idea that ought to be banned. It's dangerous. I don't see a problem with teaching our children both. I mean, I never really saw the point of teaching creationism. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for educational freedom, but God, just seems awful. Why do Dislike Restore so much? Their policies are just a bit to the right of reform. Because they're not a bit to the right of reform. Their policies are to the left. They're not getting rid of ILR. What do you mean? No, they're not. They are to the left. They pretend to be to the right. They are headed by the most boring man alive. And I don't know if you saw Carl Benjamin's video the other day, but it's basically trying to siphon all the ethno-nationalist energy. They've just been completely rug pulled. I can't believe Carl was saying that, like, oh, you're just anons. People have had their lives seriously ruined with their political activity, which I don't agree with and don't think they should be put in jail just for, you know, thinking Hitler's alright. And that's been rug pulled from them. So they're just... It's a garden path, and it's obviously a garden path that lots of people have been led down. And it's basically all to enrich a few people. It's basically a few people siphoning Rupert Lowe's kids' inheritance. It's a make-work program. It's stupid. Anyway, hello, Cero. So that's why I don't like them, because Rupert Lowe's effectively being used by a load of people. I'll go down the sort of free choice side of things. I won't ban creationism, but I never get why this was an argument in America, I'm gonna be honest. That would be one way to compromise, yes, but does creationism really help open their minds for our children? I agree it's just completely wrong, but, you know, I remember when, whenever I've been doing, like, geology, you know, we have working theories all the time for how, like, the Earth moves, but you still get taught wrong ones just to see how we got to the theories that we know work. So they're grifters. I am happy to call people like Carl Benjamin grifters, yeah. And they're also just... You know, Lewis Brackpool is the most useless person alive, and I know for a fact that he is on a wage that is a fair amount above median wage. Like, that also annoys me, considering the fact that he just doesn't do anything, really. Like, sending FOI requests. is something people do voluntarily and do much better than him. It's the 2000 New Atheism who had a strawman version of Christians. Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, Cole is, like, just straight up a grifter. Like, he has a direct income stream from Restore, and a load of people are in the comments of most of their videos now saying, like, this glazing of Restore is getting boring, can you please stop? And it's something I noticed months ago. The way I see it promotes a blind acceptance of the world as it is, not facts or verification needed. What the hell are you talking about? Children should be encouraged to think critically and ask questions, and creationism and other religious teachings hinder that. Well, they can hinder that, but, you know. I don't believe schools need to ban creationism. I don't see the harm in letting students decide. Basically, yeah. I know a few creationists, and some went to Cambridge to do natural sciences. Needless to say, they don't believe that anymore. Dipped into the loot seaters the other day. Boy, how their rhetoric towards our Nige has changed post-Makefield. We're back to he'll do for now. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing I don't like Restore. Like, it took 4 months for them to collapse. Like, it's unbelievable they don't think this takes years. So, just very naive people. Some are grifters. Not all of them, obviously, but some are. Honestly, that's a valid argument. I can live with that. Lucian Gláeddyv, whatever, knocked on the door and entered. Excuse me, some urgent business kept me away. Welcome, Mr. Gláeddyv. Mr. President. Ms. Walder. Why were you late? The General Staff have some concerns about the Rumburg border. I already provided you with a report. Nothing else. Just discussing the curriculum. Very well, let's hear them. Continuing from my previous point, it is my conviction that we should require the mandatory teaching of evolution in Swordland's public schools and cut creationism completely out. We want children from rural areas to have the same opportunities as their urban counterparts. This is the way. Opening students' minds and reducing the role of religion in schools will also lead to more equality between young men and women. Don't bring your pet causes into this, Miss Wilder. You failed your reforms and now you want to remove belief from schools? Advancing women's rights is more than just a pet cause. Both of you gentlemen must know that. Also, we all know why the education reforms failed, don't we? Kiara looked at me. Yes, and I'm disappointed. I expected more from you. Your education budget didn't make it, but I can't really do a lot about that. Actions and consequences, I told you before. Going back to the topic. Although I myself believe in evolution, we must be careful not to alienate the rural conservative voter base. We owe a lot to their support. Forcing their children districts to teach evolution could irreparably damage our standing with them. Every modern nation is reducing or removing creationism in their curriculum, yet we are supposed to allow schools to promote fundamental, and yes, sexist ideas from thousands of years back? Was creationism sexist? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, woman comes from man's rib, got you. So, is that what we're doing now? Copying what other nations are doing instead of paving our own way? If it works, why not? Look at the analysis, it's clear that the superpowers are doing some things, right? Should we reinvent the wheel, Mr. Gláeddyv? You speak as if we don't import any influence from other countries. That's not what I said. Their voices started getting louder and I held up my hand for silence. We can still allow creationism to be taught. Yes, although I won't like it, I still believe schools are no place for religion. I won't like it either. You'll have to prepare to lose a lot of voters. Oh, well, it's compromise, isn't it? When do you get to fire this woman? Oh, yeah, I made a promise to the progressive leader before, and I am basically just going to give him education because, like, it's probably fine. Kiara looked me in the eye. It's your decision. Don't forget, future generations of Swordish youth are counting on you. Well, the rural voters will probably, you know, I've given them 2 bones here, healthcare and education, so, you know, I think they'll be okay with this. I'll make teaching evolution mandatory, but schools may promote creationism alongside if they wish. Unfortunate, but it will have a better outcome than banning creationism altogether. I disagree. Rejecting creationism would have been the signal that we are redirecting Swordland towards a scientifically and technologically advanced future. Yes, unfortunately, these things do have to be done incrementally. Why do I have this woman in government? I didn't have a choice. These were the people who were just put in place. I can't do anything with them yet. Not been given the choice. The meeting ended shortly after, and no one was happy. Yes! Where's that? Someone make a meme of me with the Rishi Sunak thing with £2 profit. Yeah, we've gone up again. You love to see it. Stott talked about how reform in a few years have removed the Tories from political discussion. When their economic credibility is taken away, who will they vote for? Who will vote for them then? Peter called it, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I get really bored of all the reform. Like, the problem is Peter constantly throws out bait to reformers, and every reformer on Twitter seems to take it. And I'm like, stop! Like, you are just taking his bait. If one came from man, is there such a thing as a woman? That's a good question. Cero raises the bloodish question. He raises the what now? We've got BQers in our country. What do I do with the BQers? They prepares for a day of dissension. Annual celebration of the founding of Neurity. Oh, it's a religion. Got you. Oh, missed one. Nationalise the Big Four now. The debate about privatisation versus nationalisation intensifies in the capital. Believes the president's reign should come down on the side of nationalisation of the Big Four. The corporations that have long defined Sutherland's ownership debate. Nope. No, yeah, you're never going to be happy, Radical, are you? An ideological chess game in Rika. Who cares? Evolution education with creationism. The UK John Guy on Twitter, who was raising hell against him, is a bit of a slot merchant. Yeah. He's really good for posting clips and all that, but he does take way too much of the bait. So, rest in peppers, if you ask me. Right. Gassom State shares divestment. State can sell its shares in Gassom with varying budgetary results. Given the financial landscape revealed by Gassom report, a strategic decision on the divestment of our shares in Gassom looms. It's now possible to consider selling an amount of our stake in the company or keep our shares for potential future profit share. Future outcome will vary based on the active share price of the company. Depends if I start a blinking war. Short term, it will help the budget. Sort of fine not doing that. I think I'm going to try the marshmallow test on this. I'm going to try and pass the marshmallow test, and hopefully it's not going to ruin us. You know, might do. God. Let's go for it. Screw it. Jen, attending the Victory Day event. Lobbying effort in assembly. We're being lobbied. Jen. Go on, Victory Day, yay. Surge drove us to the city of Jen, the stronghold of Swordish nationalists, for an event organised by the opposition parties to discuss current events. In reality, it was probably a publicity stunt to show Swordsland that the leaders of the assembly could sit around the same table. Cool. What do you think? Why do you think Carl has changed so much? Is it simply down to him being told he doesn't know anything and going to university has made him too big-headed? I mean, going to university is like, yeah, inflated his sense of intelligence once again. He's genuinely not very clever. Sorry, Carl. You do just you do just have a lot of reductive takes, I'm afraid. There's a time in every chud's life to move past Carl Benjamin, I'm afraid. I think he's also been audience captured to an extent, but I mean, that's kind of not true anymore, given his video last Friday. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say that now. I can't really say your audience captured by F-Mats when you tell them to F off and die. But you got to bear in mind an awful lot of this as well is just, you know, to an extent he'll follow the money because he's a media personality. Of course he'll do that. They all do that. Like, fine, it's just what they do. The National Front Party, which governed the city, undoubtedly had the biggest hand in organisation of the meeting. No coincidence that it fell on Victory Day. Today was the day of special symbolic importance for Swordsland. Every year, on the 14th of March, proud patriots from all ages gathered to celebrate the end of the Swordish Civil War, Tarkil Sol's victory. Jen had survived one of the worst atrocities of the war, and its Victory Day celebrations were more jubilant than all of Swordsland. Originally only Peter and I were scheduled to attend, but after learning about the new developments with the Ishval Urson case, Nia Morgana was invited as well. Representatives of both the Progressive Party and the National Front have told us they wanted to talk about the case in more detail. I still can't believe they chose National Front. Can he redeem himself, or will it cost him too much? The problem is, it's just not trustworthy. So he can redeem himself, but I wouldn't have him anywhere close to reform. Nia departed Whole Sword first. Peter and I left on our own a little later. Peter was sitting next to me in the presidential car, skimming through the morning newspaper in silence. Suddenly Serge rolled down the soundproof window. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, we are about to arrive at the Gen Centre of Culture. Morgana had already arrived and she will be waiting for you. Peter raised his head and looked out the window, and he folded the newspaper and laid it beside him. Well, that was too comfortable of a drive to have been this fast. I wasn't joking, Serge is the best. No kidding, my driver Svefta can't hold a candle to it. Although I'm sure I wouldn't mind navigating her dangerous curves one day. Haha. He's such a pig. Nah, I should ride with you guys more often. I can't believe I could actually read on the go. Well, you are embarrassing me, sir. I'm no special man. It's the Cadillac. Serge took a left turn and drove over the tiny streets of Gen. Is it Gen or Yen? I guess it'll be Yen. The city looked surprisingly clean and well maintained. There were no signs of destruction the city suffered during the heaviest battles of the Civil War. We slowed down in front of a colourful plaza overlooking a massive concrete building with a giant sign that read Yen Centre of Culture. Looks like the NFP mayors have really transformed the city. Wasn't this an abandoned warehouse for the longest time? I believe it used to function as a rebel militia base during a little while after the Civil War. Alright, the Black Battalion. Let's not sour the mood with memories of the Civil War, dude. Sorry, you're right. Serge stepped out of the car and went to hold our doors. We are here, sir, so I hope you'll have a great day. We got out of the car, walked toward the entrance of the building, and every spot around us was decorated with flags of Swordland. Comically large amounts of flags almost fully enveloped the buildings around the plaza in maroon, white and gold. At the entrance, Cero Kibiner, the head of the National Front Party, was waiting for us in his iconic brown suit, watching the sky. Look at this guy, so full of himself. How did this clown convince me the progressives to have trilateral talks with them anyway? Probably the same reason we're here. It's Victory Day. How can I forget? Lucian nagged about the importance of the day for 20 minutes straight. It broke my soul. Seeing us arrive, Kessler approached us with a smile. Thank you for being here on this glorious day, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. As the former mayor of Yen, it is an honour to welcome you to this fine city. His post-liberalism arc burnt bridges with old liberal contacts. That's very true with Carl. The thing, he never turned into a post-liberal. It was all a sham. If you hear him on Adam and Stitch, he sounds like still as liberal as ever. He just goes on about differences in ethnicity a bit more. He can still do that and be a liberal. He would have to accept never being part of anything, in my opinion. His past is too radioactive, and to be part of anything officially and publicly. Well, yeah, he's stuck with the Lotuses for ages, and obviously they hope that Restore would grow massively and they'd be the official media arm of it, but it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, because Restore's basically already dead. This was the thing about today with the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, it came out, I had it on the background while I was doing other things, and I don't remember anything from it. It was so boring. And then I go to see some highlights on Twitter, and I'm like, well, people are doing what I was planning to do anyway, which was to clip it, but it was so boring, it's kind of pointless to clip it, so there we are. Thank you, Mr. Kibner. It looks like you were a good mayor. It's good to be here. Shake hands in silence. Yeah, it's good to be here. We shook hands. Thank you for organising this, Mr. Kibner. The representatives of the PFJP and Minister Morgana are already inside the private meeting room. Hopefully we'll be finished before the festivities start. Kessler gestured at the doors behind him. Shall we? Please. Just follow me. I nearly asked about the constitutional changes, but I thought better of it. We entered the building and walked through the massive conference hall until we approached a door towards the back of the building. We'll have the meeting here. Oh my god. I have so many voices to remember. Kessler opened the door for us and we entered the meeting room. PFJP leader Franz Richter and his deputy Manoli Suhiel, already seated on the left side of the table, left wing. As soon as we entered, Nia came to greet us. After sharing our seats, Cero sat down next to his deputy, Remus Holström. This is such a meaningful day. Thank you for coming here on behalf of your parties. Despite the festive atmosphere, we and the PFJP want to raise a few important concerns about the worrying state of affairs in Swordland. Cero stopped for a moment to check his notes. Very worrying indeed. Mr. Richter and his analysts have been working on an analysis of the blood problem. As soon as they brought it up, we gave our support without reservation. The blood problem? Mr. Hot... I'm really sorry to interrupt, but analysis is about racism and radicalization in Swordland. Our main topic is the case of Ursun vs. Swordland. Please don't try to spin it. Of course, Miss Suhiel. Mr. Holström just wanted to point out that this analysis was focused mainly on topics relating to the British people. I'm surprised you've got a joint analysis. Peter's analysis has always been good. The Tory and him will never look at reform with context. That's why I miss him coming on the podcast, because it's always Peter B has his riff. I make mental notes of what he said and address them, and it's like, well, let's be fair, think about this, that and t'other. I think come next election he will vote reform. I don't think he's ever quite lived down saying he'd vote Andy Burnham, but most people seem to have forgotten that now. Anyway, I'm surprised your parties have conducted a joint analysis. We thank the NFP for assisting our research, of course, but this is by no means a joint analysis. Our parties have vastly different opinions. Hold on, if this meeting is going to turn into a racist summit, I'm leaving immediately. I will hear you out, but know that I will not act on anything before talking to representative of the Bloodish community. Alright, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening. Let's get back on track. Ladies and gentlemen, he gestured at friends. I want to give the word to Mr. Richter to explain the issue. Thank you. Our analysis of the current tensions between the Bloodish and Swordish population in Swordland displays a worrying picture. As much as I hate to say it, the threat of the Bloodish Freedom Front is getting real again. The situation with Rumbog and Welland is very concerning. The increasingly discriminatory actions of the Governor of Bergia are resulting in the radicalization of many young Bloodish people. Distressingly, it exploded out of control after the presidency gave support to Operation Bear Trap. Whoopsie doodles. I must also point out that the recruitment numbers of the BFF have significantly increased within Eurist communities. Peter frantically looked through his papers. That is correct. The reports show that 39 Eurist sanctuaries in Bergia are now classified as red threats by the authorities. Many priests in the region are also suspected of having ties to the BFF. The Religious Harmony Bill would have directly crippled this network they established within our sanctuaries. As the threat to the BFF poses is a direct one, this issue requires direct actions that would bear direct results. I'm disappointed in the lack of action taken by the USP administration. Well, I didn't know about this context, did I? Your bill would have unnecessarily raised the already high tensions. I'm regretting my decision. Your bill would have made everything worse. Yeah, it would have raised tensions, surely. You did well by vetoing it, Mr. President. Our suggestion is to finally enforce the official language of our country as stated in the Constitution. You're working on the Unified Language Act. It is directly aimed at the breeding grounds of the British Freedom Front. The police have infiltrated 32 BFF training grounds in remote towns around Bergia. They posed as middle schools. Despite all evidence, similar schools keep popping up, and so-called activists are constantly blocking Governor Braun's attempts to stop these schools, and the attacks claiming he is attacking their right to language. You can't take away the Bloodish people's right to be educated in their own language. This is insane. Please read the proposal carefully. It does not take away anyone's rights. It only gives the state a way to control the radicalization in these schools that teach Bloodish nationalist propaganda. According to the Constitution, the language of the Swordland is Swordish. Nothing is to be done to enforce that. We are breaching the Constitution. The law simply enforces it. With all due respect, Mr. Kibner, this bill is not strong enough. The Bloodish language should be completely banned. You know, people like Miss Sulihel or Mrs. Morgana would never even vote for your watered-down bill. Remus. Cero repositioned himself on his chair and continued, "Oh, get your boys in order, Mr. Kibner. True, it does not ban Bloodish language or education. It will instead make Swordish mandatory to learn for everyone living in this country. It will only decrease the tensions in the long term." It's a fair point, however. The wording of the bill is far too vague to work as intended. It gives the government too much power over educational institutions. I disagree. The language is quite clear and is in line with the Constitution, but we can still improve it. Of course, this is true that it gives more control, but it is a necessary compromise. James Orr said the other day that Reform have got between 6.5 to 7 million they believe they can count on. I agree with Gawain that if Gemrick nails econ policy and messaging, the 10 million target is achievable. It's all the economy, man. It's what it is now. Like, immigration, you know, people know about Restore, fine, there'll be a bit of inertia there, but they're dying as a party. They are. Like, the energy is just going. And, God, like, does anyone even care that they stood down in Clacton? No, not really. Nobody really cares. Like, they blew that load in Makerfield. Well done. I have to read it in detail to see. I don't know how it helps the situation. Even if the Assembly supports it, I'll read it in detail on the side. The Progressives will not allow this bill to pass the Assembly. Let's not make statements that the party hasn't agreed on yet. Manley looked furious. She opened her mouth to respond, but read the room and closed it. As if the PFJP has the influence to change the outcome. I may continue with our analysis. The situation is also connected to Rumborg, as everyone already knows. In the case of a future incursion, BFF forces in Swordsland could become an existential threat. That's why we have a remote authority of the governor, in order to respect or receive this information from internal affairs. Maybe the NFP influences you more than you think. Yeah, we have to remove the authority of the governor, it's stupid. It's great, we're aligned on that matter. We have to do something about it because the reality is the secessionists are on the rise. He adjusted his tie and continued. Our analysis matches with what the Ministry of Interior shared with us, but despite this fact we believe the Ministry is hiding information from us, which is actively fueling the tensions between the scenes. Behind the scenes, sorry. Am I just doing what the terrorists want? That's the problem here. As much as I now support the strict response against the BFF, it must also be coupled with an expansion of the rights of the Bullish people, in a way to fight against radicalization. That is BFF propaganda. What rights are we talking about here? What can a sword in Swordsland do that a boot cannot? You are using soft language as a cover-up for your willingness to negotiate with terrorists. BFF apologist, Mr. Richter. Rivers shouted in the last sentence, and Peter tapped on the table to get his attention. Please do not raise your voice, Mr. Holstrom. The mood in the room turned sour. Is the USP that desperate for Mr. Richter's support now? Manley bellowed out a loud laugh. Mr. Vector is the last person to sway the PFJP. What is that supposed to mean? Enough. Everybody went silent. This is a mess. I thought we were here for a proper meeting. Kessler and Peter nodded. You heard the man. Please finish your point, Mr. Richter. We require your support with a more pressing matter. This might be a very significant consequence for our bloodish citizen and may serve as a dangerous trigger if we're not careful. Friends gestured at Manley, and she carefully placed several pieces of paper in front of her. The President, Mr. Vice President, and Ms. Minister. As you know, there is a major Supreme Court case at the moment. Ishval Ersan is suing the governor of Bergia, Felix Bronn, for infringing upon the liberties of bloodish people and demands the Constitution be revised. Because of the argument and the implications, Felix Bronn, and consequently the very Constitution of Swordsland, is under trial. The fact is, he needs to be punished and the Constitution must be reviewed. I'm aware of this case. In fact, we're already working on revoking the current special status. That's great to hear. We would be very happy if you could share the details once they're more concrete. We'll definitely give support to that when the time comes, Mr. President. However, in the case of Ishvan Ersen, he has a bigger reach than Bergia. Nia raised her hand and spoke. I was actively involved in this case because of the implications with the Constitution. There is no way the Supreme Court will agree with Ishval Ersen on all the points. But if all three parties of the Assembly support Ersen together, put pressure on them, and we only need them to agree on a few of those points. Why do you think it will influence all parties? Are they willing to support them? The peace and harmony in Swordsland, yes, but perhaps we must clarify details first. Well, what's the significance of the case? Be straight with you, Mr. President. If the court rules against Ersen, this will most likely turn into a BFF campaigner for bloodish revolution. We ask everybody to recognise this. And I and the NFP are ready to push for de-escalation and aid our nation during this dangerous time. I'll be completely honest, I would never have expected that from you. Remus was visibly annoyed but kept himself silent. Because the case is now in the hands of the Supreme Court, the ruling will influence all future implementation of law on the decision-making of the lower courts. We have the Minister of Justice here with us too. I'm sure she would not disagree with what I just said. He didn't comment but nodded. I'm afraid Mr. Kibno is right about this. If the court ignores this case now, it may turn into something massive. Therefore, we have to pressure the court to not escalate the already high tensions. Well, what do you think if the court ignores us? Another all-out BFF rebellion, Mr. President. In my opinion, that would be the preferred outcome. Enemies do truly live within our borders. I'd rather have them show their true faces. This is exactly what those damn Rums want. They are readying for war and waiting to use tensions inside Swordland against us. Well, our forces are capable of handling the threat. May God bless our valiant warriors. I hope the armed forces will not be necessary for the sake of us all. Well, what's the most likely outcome then? The first and most likely option is that the Supreme Court completely ignores the arguments and rejects it entirely. If they ignore all of the points and strike against Ersen, Governor Braun will be free to follow his discriminatory policy without obstacles. And in a possible future, the court's interpretation of the Ersen case will be the basis of all future rulings, which opens the way of suspending the rights of non-swords. It would effectively erase any progress that has been made regarding Bloodish rights and will embolden anti-Bloodish proponents to follow their actions freely. Well, that would be disastrous for the Bloodish. Exactly. It's precisely why our expectation is to see a different result this time. The stakes couldn't be higher. Go on then, what's the plan? In short, the plan is to release a unified statement to the justices declaring our support for Ersen and explaining why it's so important. And a good result will be if the Supreme Court reiterates its commitments to a pillar of unity and solism. Mr. President, despite previously being against it, I now completely understand why Swordland still needs solism. We need unity more than ever. Oh, sick. Article 6. Is that unity? We do not need Solish unity. Professor stared Remus down and continued. If the court reiterates the definition of sword in Article 8 as an all-encompassing term, they would be acknowledging that Ersen and others like him are indeed protected by the rights of swords people, which they are. As a result, the resettlement policy in Dare would be reversed, opening a way for Governor Braun's removal and the de-escalation of tensions. Is that true, Miss Morgana? That is correct, Mr. President. Doesn't this mean the existence of Bloodish people is literally not being acknowledged, though? Exactly. Our current constitution fails to recognise the Bloodish people, and it's time we abolish inherent racism in it. Citizens of Swordland are swords. The Constitution clearly defines that in Article 6. It encompasses everybody. It shouldn't be up for debate. The racists have turned into civic nationalists. Do you know the amount of... There are quite a few accounts I've seen on Twitter now where in their bio it says ex-restorer, committed Zionist. Just saying, Haryanism is inevitable. What racism are you talking about? Solism is based on civic nationalism, not ethnic. I love it. Civic nationalism will rise again. I do not understand why someone would go against such a broad and inclusive law. I don't see the commies criticising the Contana identity, when in fact their country is filled with all different ethnicities. I agree. A united Swordland is what we need. I see your point. Don't understand why the NFP has suddenly had a change of heart. Why are you all civic nationalists now? I disagree. The case is important for the greater good of the Swordish nation, and that is what the National Front stands for. All I'm asking is, if even the United Contana, the Gláeddyv, doesn't call himself Koivean before Contana, why is it the bloods cannot be the same? Why does Swordland have to be divided? You have a point, but I must point out that Contana is the word for a geographic entity, unlike sword. Swordland, country of the swords, is actually a geographic entity as well, as is Britain, British, England, English, etc, etc, etc. This is Swordland. You can subscribe to whatever idea you want, but if you are a citizen, you are a sword. That's how a nation works. True. The reality is that bloods do not respect nor recognise the laws and authority of Swordland. They rather separate themselves from the swords and protect their very laws that protect them. This is where it gets complex. Is it every sword? Is it every blood? I don't know, probably not. Is every blood part of the BFF? No. So, it's complicated. So that they can cry about injustices and ask about Swordland's enemies to come and save them. I personally do not agree with the Bloods of Swords solist crap. I can't believe the words are being thrown around at this meeting. Well, what's your position, PFJP? I personally somewhat agree with Mr. Kibna on this. However, our position at the PFJP is that Article 6 doesn't indeed discriminate against non-swords. and having a positive outcome for this case alone does not suffice. We agreed to come together to support Ishval Ersan, but we believe our statement should include the acknowledgement of the inherent racism within our constitution. No! We must use this opportunity to show the flaws in the constitution. If the court agrees that there is in fact conflict between articles, or recognise they discriminate, and the Hawker Court is going to listen to that? Besides, we do not agree with your inherent racism hogwash. You have to state that this is your party's opinion and does not reflect the NFP. You won't take part in that. That would make the statement look weak and disorganised. If there's no concrete strategy, I don't think it would work. Insert Thanos meme if this brings you back to me. More Bloods join the BFF than Shoreditch military. Dude! What a reference. I think I have enough information to be able to say we are deep in the mud here. Peter laughed at his own joke, but nobody else reacted. Well, I think that the NFP stance could do some good for the Bloodish without provoking the establishment, but even that might be risky right before the vote. But the progressive stance would be too radical for our party. I think it might be better to keep our administration out of this. I'm not sure if it's worth the risk right before the vote on our reforms, but the decision is yours. Tell me why we should pressure the court to admit discrimination within the Constitution. Yeah, why do that? Because it is the right thing to do, Mr. President, now. It's not the time for a weak and superficial action. We can show you the people of Sutherland the reality of the situation and create a precedent for future constitutional amendments of these articles. How will they react if we do it your way? We have to try if they truly care about the people. They will agree to it. If not, people will see the reality of the solid state apparatus. The NFP willing to join? No, we are not willing to give our support for Ersan for violation of his rights to property. Sorry, we are willing to do it for his property, but you are not. But if you are going to go that way, we have to make two separate statements. What do you think, Peter? I don't think this would work, Anton. Hawker won't be influenced, plus it could further antagonize them against our reforms. And we will definitely lose votes. In my opinion, the progressives have the most to gain from this and would be seen as leaders of the table, not us. And what do you suggest, Miss Morgana? I agree with Mr. Richter and Miss Soliel. I personally think we should join them in their statement. I would also agree the Chief Justice Hawker won't have a sudden change of heart because of it, but we must put pressure on the justices. I think I've made my own position clear. In the end, it's your decision. Well, why try and reiterate the position? Because it is the only way to decrease tensions, and the Supreme Court cannot afford to look hypocritical. So they have to take the Solis side. Still think that it is admitting defeat against Solism, but Mr. Kibner is right. The Rumbog situation demands extraordinary measures. Can the PFJP join in? As much as I don't agree with it, we are willing to compromise. But if you're going to go this way, we will still need to make our separate statement and party policy. Manley was shaking in her seat in fury, but managed to keep herself silent. How do you think the Supreme Court will take it? I truly believe they will be convinced. It is not against our ideology, and this is what Colonel Sol intended with the Constitution. We're shooting them with their own guns. Just imagine, parties of the Assembly are reminding them of their duty with their own beloved Constitution. Mr. Hawker can't take that pressure. What do you think, Peter? I think it's risky, Anton, but if it works, which it might, it could make a difference. If the court really feels the pressure and accepts it, the lower courts will need to adhere their legal interpretation. It might not get rid of legal discrimination, but it could at least decrease it. But with the vote on our reforms coming soon, it's a real leap of faith. What about you, Miss Morgana? I definitely do not agree with Mr. Kibner or Mr. Holstrom. I don't see Solism unity working in reality. But I also have to say that pushing this position could have an effect on the outcome of the case. Mr. Hogler can agree with traditional Solist interpretation after all. However, as our law enforcement forces are filled with anti-blood officers, I don't believe the change on the ground will be visible. I've heard enough. USP will join the statement. Will argue that Articles 6 and 7 are inherently discriminatory. No. USP will join the statement. Will argue that Bloodish people are considered swords before the law. Don't want to release you. No, well, yeah. Bloodish people are swords. Like, that's where I'm at. It's telling how everyone has universally accepted Burnham is a walking failure. The polling has not moved. He's annoyed over a third of the electorate already. No defence, econ policy, oh dear. It's been a disaster. It's been a walking disaster, and it's kind of nuts how everyone's just sort of going along with the charade. I sort of can't believe it. It's nuts. It's great to hear. We will get to work immediately after the celebrations. I don't like the sound of this. Neither do I. As much as it may be needed, this will only strengthen the solism of the USP. We all know Sordists don't agree with Solis nationalism. I'll talk about that later, Remus. Sordists will have to listen to me this time. We will also support the effort for the sake of a positive result. We appreciate all your comments, ladies and gentlemen, but now the USP stance is clear, we should probably end the meeting here. After bidding our farewells, Cero took us outside the building to join the Victory Day event on the plaza. Well, that was interesting. Big Three unites against Governor Bron. WPD condemns President Rain. The Works Party of Bloody... Oh, whatever. They're not happy with President Rain's recent regard for the case of Ishval Urson. I was sort of on his side. While they appreciate supportive statements, they felt the President failed to address the underlying issue of inherent racism in the Constitution. Well, they're not having that. I meddle in the judiciary. Oh no. They display their commitment to solism. Oh no, I've made the commies happy. Lobbying effort. Chief Strategist Lucian Gallad has prepared a well-planned lobbying effort in the Parliament which would specifically sway on the fence MPs for the upcoming constitutional vote. The plan includes parties, gifts and political favours. Shall we go ahead? Yeah, we'll do it a bit. Right, let's continue. Burnham is the same we in different pants. Hopefully people will see soon. I think they've already seen. Listen, my brother's on Laughing at the Guardian this weekend. He voted Labour. He's literally never been happy with that. So, can't imagine Burnham's going to be any better. By the way, does anyone know how many chapters are in this game? Just out of interest. Right. Heartbreak for FC Amrica as FC Gelsword secures back-to-back league titles. Good for them. World ignores the bloodish plight. Oh, shut up. Valgish man shot after burning Agnolia flag. Barred from high-paying jobs. How true is that? Here's the 50s, I guess. It wouldn't exactly be necessarily untrue. Anyway, decent. Fair amount of greens. Mostly yellow. Probably slightly more red than green there, but whatever. Oh, welfare's pretty good, to be fair. Need to... Oh, God. Well, hopefully the Bergia thing's going to be green soon, so... I think I'm doing alright. Call from Marcel Coronti. I was in my office looking through the agenda for the upcoming meeting at the Ministry of the Economy. The meeting was going to be about ownership of the Big Four. The four corporations at the heart of the Swordland's ownership debate. Heart of Swordland. It's a conglomerate multi-industry corporation worth tens of billions. Bergia Steel, founded in... largest fully private corporation among the Big Four. Swordish State Corporation and the Mining Group. Cool. Some of these companies were controlled in part or entirely by the state, others were mostly or completely privatised. I have power to change that fact. The phone rang and I put the agenda down. Put the phone. Greetings, Mr. President. It's been a while, hasn't it? Let me try to remember. When was the last time we had a chat? Oh, I remember. It was in country. That's when you refused my gracious offer. Yes. Well, for good reason. Well, we are both at odds here, and I'm sure we can let the past be the past and focus on the future. Although this time I'm talking about a short-term future. Your upcoming ownership meeting, for example. Before we move to that, I can't help but mention the tax breaks, Mr. President. They've been extraordinarily beneficial to our quarterly performance. HOS is now operating on a much larger revenue pool. You have successfully strengthened the backbone of the Shoreditch economy. I expect you to reinvest surplus. It was a tough decision. Of course, private corporations had a financial leg up to boost investments. Couldn't be more right. He paused for a few seconds. Out of goodwill, I will share my key piece of info. The Lothbergian Group, private non-government organisation, assess the economic conditions of Swordland. Has a contingency plan if you decide to do anything rash that will disrupt their empire. Can't blame them, can you? Imagine someone trying to take your authority and personal wealth away without your consent. They would have to deal with whatever I decide. We'll only ask for a reasonable share, nothing out of the ordinary. I don't see why we should be enemies. Exactly. If everyone plays to their cards right, it would be fine. Now, let's talk about those cards. Since the start of your campaign, you were wisely committed to the market economy. Judging by that, I'm sure we're looking into privatise some of the companies that are currently state-owned. I believe, therefore, that privatising both Nedham Mining Group and Swordish State Corporation would both be good for our interests. After all, I'm considering buying stocks in both companies. That is exactly what I was thinking, to be fair. Gonna go full Maggie Thatcher. The whole idea of sending half a number 10 to Manchester showed how unserious he is and devolving youth unemployment to mayors. He's not put the time... He's literally the most vibes-based guy I've seen in politics for a while. And he seems to have been exactly the same back when he was in the cabinet as health minister. You know, he got absolutely railed for a couple of crises while he was there, so I'm surprised that Reform aren't massively pushing on that. But, well, we'll see. Right, that's exactly what I was thinking. Excellent, great minds think alike. Thank you for your support. Before we end the call, there's actually one more thing I'd like to discuss, and I will be blunt. Mr. Tusk is unfit for the spokesperson for the Lothburg Group. His archaic thinking has only preserved a status quo that benefits himself and precious few others. It's high time something changed. Well, who do you have in mind to replace him? What do you think? Me, of course. Here's what I propose, a win-win situation. If you promise me a majority share from the privatisation, he will lose considerable power. And I could take over, and if I take over with your help, I will be forever indebted to you and support you in all your goals. And let that be a re-election or something more. How does that sound? Yep, screw it. Let's make a deal with that. Perfect. Well then, I've taken up enough of your time today. This has been a productive call, and thank you for your time, Mr. President. Thanks, Marcel. I'll talk to you later. After a couple of minutes, I went back to reviewing the agenda. I hope that doesn't come and bite me in the backside. That could be embarrassing. Right. Supreme Court holds Governor Bron accountable. Oh, in a groundbreaking ruling, the Supreme Court has charged Bron for his implementation of the Divisive Resettlement Order. Hooray! We won! The Bloodish community in Suzerain expresses outrage and demands meaningful reform. A recent ruling sparked outrage among Bloodish community residing in the city of Suzerain. While initial celebrations over the dismissal were witnessed on the streets, the underlying sentiment remains one of scepticism. God, they're never happy, are they? Protests continue against government intervention in Welland. Well, they can get over it. Supreme Court decision falls short of justice again. Shut up. Demonstrations against President Rain. Bloodish Democrats condemn President Rain. Do not care. Welland Operation Aftermath continues. Months after Anton Rain and Victor Smolak declared a successful end to their joint operation against the Bloodish Freedom Front in Welland, the region still remains fraught. Multiple street skirmishes between Bloods and Wessex has been broken up by peacekeeping troops, while efforts to rebuild the homes and businesses that were destroyed in the conflict have stalled. Well, they were a threat to our nation. Oh, a fresh chapter, cool, right. Requested meeting of Lucian. Go on then. Lucian scheduled some time with me to discuss the potential political repercussions for the economy meeting. He arrived on time as usual and took his seat right across from me. Good morning, Mr. President. Lucian had a dark circle below his eyes. The plethora of political developments must have been weighing even on a workaholic like him. Are you getting enough sleep? I'm trying to, sir. Very well. I booked some of your time to pre-plan for today's meeting in the Ministry of the Economy. But before we go into the economic direction, I want to give you a short-term status update. After you, Mr. Kivener, made your statement in support of Solus constitutionalism, the Supreme Court prioritised the case and quickly announced a verdict. Very clever of you to use solecism against them, and afford to look like hypocrites, so they must have moved on it very quickly. The court ruled that Felix Bron is to be relieved from his position as governor for abusing his powers and discriminating against Swedish citizens. He is banned from serving in any political positions in the future and will be charged with a fine of 5 million Swedish ren. Resettlement policies of Bergia are all ruled to be unconstitutional and have been revoked. However, the court has also rejected Ursen's arguments about the constitution, ruling that all citizens of Swordland are swords regardless of their ethnicity and are completely equal before the law. The results received a mixed response from the Bloodish community, and activist radicals and BFF sympathisers have condemned the ruling. However, the majority seem to recognise that justice has been served. Sick. So still not good news. What more do these activists want? As long as we can ride the aftermath of these results to our advantage, the fringe of Bloodish society won't matter for us. Can't affect the vote too much. There is one more important detail. The seat of the governor of Bergia must be filled. Normally the president appoints the governor of the special zone directly, and I'm afraid, despite Miss Morgan's protest, the court decided to take a completely different route on this. Mr. Hawker argued that the premature departure of a governor during a term is an exceptional case, and ruled that the deputy of Governor Braun will assume his duty until the end of term. Mr. Kibner might have played you. Unfortunately, the deputy in question is Mr. Krull, member of the NFP. I'm afraid the court delivered Bergia straight into the NFP's hands. How can they just decide that? There's probably lots of Labour MPs who are dreading Burnham being PM for the next 2 years. No, they're looking forward to it. Loads of them think they'll get new jobs. Loads of them think they'll get more time with the Prime Minister to get their agenda pushed through. They're looking forward to it. They are out of the loop on how fed up people are. On the bright side, I think that's going to be really good for reform. Fortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Luckily, he will not be able to resume any of his predecessors' unconstitutional activities. Of course, giving such a powerful position to a far-right nationalist is very concerning. Luckily, Miss Graff is already working on the revocation of the special zone in Bergia. We may still be able to get rid of Mr. Cole that way. However, there might be a problem with its timing. It would likely be ready after the vote for the amendments. If those votes succeeds, and we've been working for, your limited decree in power won't be enough to enact change in this grand. I'm afraid you won't be able to enact a change without the approval of the Assembly. It would be very hard to convince them to revoke the special zone, but with Mr. Braun, an important fundraiser for the USP, gone, the party may be willing to move against Governor Kroll. It's ridiculous. Tell her to work faster. It needs to be finished before the vote. I'm sure we can find a way to convince the party by then. It's not certain the reforms will pass, to be fair. You have to make sure that doesn't happen for the sake of our administration. He took a look at his watch. For now, let us return back to the real reason we are here, economic direction. We need to be cautious. Any grand plans about the economy will also heavily influence the political standing. We'll be changing our relationship with the old guard and oligarchs and opposition. As you know, this meeting will give the opportunity to alter ownership of the Big Four. Corporations at the centre of Sorland's ownership question. We can start the process of nationalisation or privatisation, or we can just keep the status quo. I remind you that any change will tip an already fragile balance. The person I think we should stay out of this and keep things as they are. There's no need to make new political enemies at this stage in our term, but the decision is yours. Are you leaning towards how should we move forward? I would privatise them. Is it not more likely Labour voters to move to Greens and not reform? Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, it depends, to be honest. Because, the anti-Semitism problem that the Corbyn administration did put people off voting for them, and Greens have that in spades, so it's hard to say, really. You could just see a complete split within the Labour Party. Some go to Greens, some make a completely new party. Who knows? What is your intention? If you want to improve our relations with the West, we need to privatise. Privatisation will bring the country out of recession. Oligarchs are powerful. They might aid us in assembly if we help them. I don't care what anyone thinks or says. I'll do what I believe in. It's the recession. May be true, but taking everything out of a state hands may have dire repercussions in a country like ours. We need to think about this carefully. One thing to remember is that since you've been transparent about promoting the market economy, privatisation will not cost us support. I received a report from the Ministry of the Economy that may impact your decision, but we missed our government budget targets for the current quarter. The plan to change ownership of important assets could help us generate much-needed resources to further improve the economic development before next election. It's just something to consider, as is our relationship with the oligarchs. We may need to remember that they only care about their own profits. Thankfully, we are on good terms with them for now, and this will help with economic recovery, and if we implement a privatisation plan, it will boost our relationship even further. Walter Tusk seems to be organising several opposing Conservative and Nationalist Assembly members to back us in the upcoming vote. To maintain our standing with him, our reforms process will benefit. Well, it's good to know that we're being supported. Just be careful with him. Remember, any path that we take here could very well determine what battles we fight in the future. Some of my connections indicate that there seems to be a contest for leadership at the Lotharberg group. Looks like Marcel Coronti is making moves to become a key figure. He probably wants his father's seat at the head of the group, and Tusk doesn't want to let go of it. It's a significant power struggle, considering these are heads of Solden's two largest private corporations. If we privatise our state-owned companies, the Swedish State Corporation and Nedham Mining Group could result in the balance tipping to one side. Fight over buying up shares and cause chaos. Since you've already made the decision to privatise, you need to be decisive in your follow-up actions. If they're fighting over share prices, guess what? More money for the government. In places like the North East Midlands and Yorkshire, the WC lab vote shifted over some time ago. When Burnham flops, Liberals in cities and unitowns will go to the Greens again. Possibly. yeah, hopefully it splits the left vote. That'd be ideal, and I think that's quite a likely outcome, to be honest. Did Marcel or Tusk contact you? I received a call from Marcel. What did he ask for? He wants to make a deal to leave Heart Soul untouched. And then said, I think about it. Very well. Was that all he wanted? He also wanted me to lower Tusk's influence, as I expected. This internal conflict among oligarchs puts us in an interesting position. Our relationship with Tusk has been very strong so far, and we have the backing of the oligarchs thanks to that. Very well then, it's almost time. I will inform Mr. Hull of your decision, and he will make the necessary preparations to formulate a plan. Let's get back to work now and see you at the next meeting. Thank you for your time. Well, we're going to lose his support. I'm back and high. I'm sure the economy is doing fine. Sort of. I'm going to privatise everything though, so hopefully my Thatcherism absolutely smashes it. Technically, I think this is slightly more Blairism, but at least it's been given to Sword, so it's slightly more to the Thatcher side. Go on then. Oh, there's a lot of people. Lucian and I arrived at the Ministry of the Economy. Assistants took our coats and right. Actually, before we do this, I really need a water. I will be just a minute. Oh. Oh, goodness me. I'm back. Water, you mean beer. Not on a Wednesday, my dude. Assistants took our coats, I said that. There's a meeting room with Simon, Edith, Gus and Michael. As soon as I entered, their chatting stopped and they stood up. After a few pleasantries, everyone but Simon took their seats and he opened a briefcase, produced a folder and proceeded to go over some documents. Greetings everyone, welcome to the Ministry of the Economy. Without further ado, we are of course here today to discuss our economic shift towards privatisation. Michael and Edith exchanged smiles. Mr. President, before you arrived, Michael and Edith were expressing their delight at your decision to go down this path. Wonderful news, I say. I'm glad we are staying firmly on the path to a market economy. This was certainly the right decision. It will boost our economy by providing the government much-needed funds. We can use these funds to increase development for the future. It's a win-win situation for sure. The main problem is you can only do it once. The good thing about owning state-owned corporations to some extent is that, you can actually get a profit of it. The thing is that, do you really need to do that when you can just have a decent tax base? I'm glad we're on the same page. You are only saying this because you will have a stake in it, enough with the flattery. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. Labour have misread how little appeal Burnham has outside the northwest. Not even just the north, it's Manchester really, it's not even the northwest. Johnson was a popular mayor who everyone knew and was actually liked for a time, but Burnham has never been that. No, I wouldn't. No, I'd say they're more similar than that, to be honest. In fact, I'd say Burnham's more liked than Johnson, to be honest. But maybe I'm saying that because I used to live in Manchester. I don't know. Certainly. Simon handed me and everyone else in the room 2 neat stacks of documents. Let's move on. How can we go about implementing a privatisation plan? Turn to page 6. The title was the Swordfish State Corporation. As you can see on the document, the first company up for discussion is the SSC. It has been around for over half a century. Most recently, they have been handling a wide range of state construction projects. In their portfolio, they have government buildings, various infrastructure projects, state libraries, embassies, basically anything government-related. Privatising a company like that would certainly increase the budget. That, of course, would result in lots of opportunities for us to provide our citizens. The funds could also be used to boost our popularity, especially with the election approaching, not to mention the various other areas in which we can and should spend money. There is a catch. The Conservative majority of the USP would not like the decision at all. For them, these state companies are part of the parcel of Swordfish identity. Well, that's stupid. If we privatise these companies entirely and sell too many shares, it will have consequences for us in the Assembly. What if we sell a minority share? We're better than nothing, but why stop there? A minority state won't help our government as much. We need to be decisive. On the other hand, a minority share would create less friction and would be my preference. Oh, well, we're definitely doing Thatcherism. What would be the effects if we fully privatise? We will gain tremendous amounts of money for the government. We can invest the money in future government projects which would popularise our administration, increasing our chances for re-election. The popularity might not make up for losing the lion's share of the Conservative vote. Conservatives comprise the majority of the Assembly. We hurt the national pride, they'll turn on us. I'm against full privatisation, and we shouldn't make enemies at this stage. What about the majority? What about a majority share? Yes, it's certainly a very good option. The state would keep some of SSC's operations under control, and the government would have lots of gains. I'm leaning towards this option myself. Retaining control while increasing our budget, I don't see a downside. Alright, next option. Very well, 26. Mining group. This is the largest mining corporation in Eastern Markopa, let alone Swordland. They call themselves the leaders of the world in coal. Oh no, the coal posters. They certainly have enough evidence to back that up. Perhaps they are not as large as SSC, but we still have lots to gain if Nedham Mining Group is privatised. I fully support privatisation of this company to any extent. Certainly a good option to gain enough capital to end the recession once and for all. I've contacts in Nedham. It is one of the most valuable corporations of the last decade. I can vouch for that. I have personal experience with the company myself. It would be a great addition to any portfolio. Or if you fully privatise, very profitable sell. I know many people who would kill to have a portion of that company. I do think this is a good option. We could simply fully privatise Nedham along with SSC to bring a large influx of money. Mr. President, I hate to repeat myself, but fully privatising one state-owned company, let alone two, will anger the Conservatives. All the budget in the world won't matter if you aren't re-elected. What are your thoughts on selling minority share then? Coupled with a minority share of SSC, this is the way to go. It would, however, be a lost opportunity. I think we should sell a majority share instead. Definitely not a bad idea at all. Alright, what about majority then? It's my preference for selling majority share of both SSC and Nedham. It would give us the most value, and I think we should go with that choice. I still generate backlash from the Assembly and the general public. I think minority share. Okay, I'll make a decision. Sounds good. Let's go over the documents again. I read all of Simon's documents once more and then flipped to the last page. It's time to make a decision. SSC, we will be majority state-owned. I think it may... Oh, it's a construction company. Do you need a construction company, or can you just outsource? I think minority state-owned for both makes sense. I signed the documents altering the ownership of the key corporations with a flourish. Simon leaned back in his chair. So, this is the path we are taking. I want to thank you, Mr. President. This decision will revitalise our economy. Although I wish I could have proceeded with privatisation in greater capacity, but it's a start. Certainly a step in the right direction. Partial privatisation will still deal damage to our Conservative voter base, but it's nothing we can't handle. I suspect that regardless, we will lose the support of some Conservatives in the Assembly. But the gains we receive will offset the losses. Well, make sure those gains are happy. As you wish. I'll not leave any stones unturned. If you'll excuse me, I have to get to work immediately. There's much to be done. Policeman packed up his bag and started making his way to the entrance. That would be all for today then. I know everyone is very busy schedules. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Simon. My pleasure. They put the documents in my suitcase and left the room with Lucian. Oh. What the f... Grim trickster, do not look at the screen. How's that gone down? Ugh. Godness sake. Johnson getting nearly 44% in 2019 looked pretty popular to me. Burnham will be lucky to get over 20%. Yeah, but to be fair, you had the Brexit thing there. There's not really a mono issue that, or uni issue that Burnham can actually push. That's why Johnson was so popular. So, also, he's not actually Prime Minister yet. So, honestly, I'd wait and see. It's not really affected polls too much, but when he's Prime Minister, it might be a little different. You know, he might have the best starting speech ever. You never know. Seriously, we're as bad as when we started. How has that happened? I'm really annoyed about that. God damn it, economy. So we've got joint drills. It's the Ellery Air Base. Nice. Works Party of Bloody. I don't like things. Fine. New governor of Bergia. Increased support for Bloodish rights outside of Bergia. Tensions keep rising in the Marquian Sea, and Walker's capitalism versus Devereaux's reform. Ooh. Just the government budget zero, man. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just to balance the budget. Go on, let's see the results. The privatisation process had begun, and I'd expected. Sorland's two most prominent oligarchs want to speak to me about it. Lucian showed me Marcel Coronti and Walter Tusk into the conference room. Two men sat across the table from me, leaving an empty chair between us. Good to see you, Mr. President. It's been a while. Yeah, take this. A gift. He bought a bottle of Earlroy. Maroon, 30 years old. I'd be to say that you favour this one. Thanks for the gift. You're not getting anything. Anytime. Marcel burst out laughing. Old man, you always think so small. You lack the vision of seeing the bigger picture. Marcel approached me and shook hands. It's nice to see you, Mr. President. Here, a real gift. He took a set of car keys from his pocket and gave them to me. Come, take a look. I looked out the window, and on the road leading to the palace I saw a glittering brand new Randolphini sports car. A car only the richest in Sorland could afford. It's yours. I can't take this. Of course you can, it's a gift. Surely better than a bottle of whiskey. Little boy, do you think I can't do better? Me, Walter Tusk. Thank you both. Let's just begin the meeting. Sounds good. Gentlemen, please take your seats. I sat down. Lucian presented a set of documents from his briefcase. So, Mr. Tusk and Mr. Coronti, President Haryan is about to sell private shares in Sorland's two largest national corporations, and now you're here showering him with gifts. You're both clearly more skilled at business than you are at subterfuge. So tell us, why do you deserve to claim these shares before they go on the general market? Walter cleared his throat. President, listen. You and I have been getting along like gangbusters recently. I want to continue this profitable relationship between us. These shares are very important to me. If I had them, I could do so much more for Sorland, and so much more for you. You haven't even seen what I and my connections are capable of. You want to get re-elected? No problem. I will make sure of it. This is my offer to you. I will do whatever it takes to make you president for another term. Doesn't that sound great? What about Marcel? He can't do anything. He's not capable enough to... Mr. President asked me, not you. Before you spew those big words, make sure you can actually do it, Walter. Mr. President, first off, Mr. Tusker is lying about the extent of his influence. True, he may have command over some people in the Assembly, but what he is sitting on top of right now was built by my father, Conrad Coronti. If you want to be straightforward with you, if you give me the shares, I will topple the old man, which means I will have the same influence he does in the Assembly. I can sway them as you like, but that's not all, Mr. President. Don't forget that I have something that gives me a powerful edge over the man, in his archaic ways. Powerful tool, control over the media. I can give you power over the Assembly and the Swedish public. It's basically a guaranteed win. You could never even hope to beat that offer. You little snake. You're 20 years early to be head of Lotharberg Group. I made the group what it is. Perhaps, but Marcel has a point. What is the decision, Mr. President? Yeah, what's it going to be? Marcel lead forward with anticipation. Shares go to Marcel, shares will go to Walter. The shares will be equally distributed. I'm sick of shenanigans. You'll have to squabble over the shares when they enter the market. We'll go with Marcel, because I promised him. What? Haven't you heard a word of what I said? It's alright, old man. You'll learn your place today. Thank you for the wise decision, Mr. President. I will arrange a small transfer of your personal thanks. Very well, here's the paperwork. Lucian put a stack of papers in front of Marcel. He points to various selections on the pages and stacks of paper. You need to sign here and here. After the papers were signed, Marcel and Walter stood up. I think we all have very busy schedules. I will take my leave now. See you later, President. I will take my leave as well. Two men packed their belongings and left the meeting room. I am now richer than sold land. Right, connections, factions. The oligarchs, Marcel Coronti. Hey, we changed it up. Hope that doesn't screw me over. What's the news? We're determined to end recession. Got that right. Drive-by shooting in Avery. Oh my. Yes. The government has announced changes to the ownership of the two largest state corporations. Yes. Cortana Security Pact does not like Rumborg and Arcasia. Oh dear. Hell. No. Why did it go to the world map? That was weird. Right. Let's... Oh, Unified Election Language. The Grand Assembly advances the Unified Education Language Act to strengthen national unity and facilitate consistent, comprehensive learning across Swordland. All education institutions in Swordland are required to conduct their teaching in the country's official language, so everyone learns Swordish, fine. The UELA establishes the enforcement of procedures of the Act. Schools found to be in violation of these guidelines may face penalties. Well, the Bloods aren't going to like it, but at the end of the day, what did Solist mean if not we're all united by something other than race? Had to go for a sec. What happened? I have privatised most of two of the nationalised industries, Construction Corporation and Mining Corporation. So the state has a minority share in it to keep the Conservatives on side, but it's ended up balancing the budget, and I ended up making, what's it called? Caronte, CEO of the HOS, the big Art of Swordland conglomerate, and so he's now basically my partner in crime in for the oligarch class. So there you go. Assembly vote on constitutional changes. Christ alive, this is going to be good. Surge was driving me towards the GNA for today's historic vote, and it was a big day. What's that? Educational Unification Act. Oppression of bloodish people. Oh, for God's sake, whatever. I wondered whether my attempt to change the constitution would end differently than Alfonso's. I looked out the window as noise of the city diminished, and I saw that we were already inside the palace complex. The complex housed the buildings of all government branches in the centre of Holsword. It was one of the biggest developments in Swordland. Maroon Palace stood on a small hilltop surrounded by trees, and we passed by the palace and entered the forest that separated it from Grand National Assembly. We drove on the small road that wound through the forest, and was a warm day, so I rolled down the window and I could hear the birds singing from the trees. Are you okay back there, sir? I'm good. I'm okay, how are you doing? I'm as good as can be, sir. Surge made a left turn out of the forest and entered the vast gardens of the Assembly. You know Mr. Tranquil Soul came to Holsword this morning? I heard some politicians talking about it today. Apparently this is the first time he's come to the city in the last 5 years. I thought he left the mainland and lived on the Rue Island, never to return to politics, but they were saying he might be here to exercise his Member of the Honour rights for the first time. Hold on, are you sure? Yeah, I overheard several men talking about it around the gardens of the Assembly. It could just be rumours. Do you think he's here because of today's vote? Most likely, yeah. Well, I'm sure he will support you, sir. I will learn soon enough. Surge drove inside the gates of the parkway and parked the car. We have arrived, sir. Thank you, Surge. What do you see happening to Labour long term when it implodes after Burn and becomes Stormer 2.0? I'm not, honestly, I can't really make a prediction on that. They might be cleft in twain. Enough might fall off to join the Greens. That becomes sort of Labour 2.0, and Labour, the other half, I guess, join the Lib Dems or just become another Lib Dem party, maybe. There we go. I walked up the white stone stairs of the Grand National Assembly. The entrance looked like the temple gate from the classical era. The door opened to reveal vast corridors of wood and white stone. I joined the crowd of people who were all walking slowly toward the parliamentary hall. Suddenly I noticed Lucian emerge from the crowd of packed politicians in front of me. They looked relieved. Ah, sir, there you are. Have you seen Vice President Vector? He's nowhere to be found. I just arrived, so now. I hope Mr. Victor arrives soon too. At any rate, how about yourself? Are you ready to finally face the Assembly? Yeah, I hope it all works out. I have full confidence in you, Mr. President. We followed the crowd into the parliamentary hall. After we were inside, one thing that bothers me about this game is that they keep flipping between parliamentary and assembly. They're two different things. Please. After we were inside, Lucy and I separated to our assigned seats, and I went up to the mezzanine overlooking the hall and sat down. I waited as the MPs took their place in the hall one by one. After a while, I saw Gloria walk to her elevated seat at the centre of the hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will shortly begin with today's agenda, the USP's proposed change to the Constitution of Swordland.
After a short while, everyone was in their seats.
According to the current Constitution, constitutional amendments require 2/3 majority in order to reach Assembly approval. If the vote succeeds, the proposal will be sent to the Supreme Court. The proposal in question includes these points.
She started reading the proposal to the Assembly.
First section of the changes. Article 57 is modified with the following.
She read them out.
Section 2, paragraph 36, she went on. May not exercise right to, anon, the justice of the Supreme Court.
Most of the MPs seemed like they were already falling asleep.
A simple majority is considered.
Her seat was really hurting my back.
Section 4, paragraph 44A.
It felt like an eternity had passed, and finally she finished reading the changes.
I hereby invite all of you to vote.
She struck a gavel down. The loud bang made some MPs jump in shock as they woke from their sleep.
As I previously stated, it will require 2/3 majority in order to pass. You may now cast your votes.
I felt the need to stand up and stretch, and I looked down at the hall from the platform I was seated on. Assembly members immediately walked to the ballot box to cast their vote. Most of them began to congregate in groups around the hall discussing the changes. Go down from the mezzanine down to the hall. As soon as I reached the bottom of the stairs, Carpenter approached me. Mr. President, how are you feeling about the vote? Very positive. Even knowing if you don't have our support? How optimistic of you. I have lost my respect for you, Mr. Rain. So many problems in Swordland that must be addressed, and yet you insist on stalling us with your democratic reforms. I know you will fail, you will lose the game, and so will your entire administration. I hope to be there when it happens. Well, keep hoping, Mr. Kibner. He laughed. He abruptly turned away from me and walked towards his seat. I then saw Lucian waving at me. He was among a group of people in the corridor hall, and I walked up to him. On my way, I bumped into Mansoon Lek. Who the hell's this guy? Swordish politician of Bloodish descent, member of the Assembly. Okay. Well, how do the Bloodish speak? Mr. President, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. He gave me a cold stare. Excuse me? He straightened his tie and walked away. I finally reached Lucian, by now deep in conversation with another member of the party. He excused himself and turned towards me.
This might be the end of my administration, fellas.
Sir, did you vote yet? We have to be quick. No, let's vote. I signed my vote to prepare the envelope. Together, Lucian and I walked to the centre of the hall and cast our votes. He kept rushing me throughout the process. Gloria bowed her head slightly in respect as she saw us vote. Lucian pulled up my arm and whispered in my ear. Mr. President, you may have a problem. Tarkin Sol is here. Oh no. You have to accelerate the voting process. We need everyone to vote as soon as possible. We don't know what he's capable of right now, but if the Assembly members see him, he might influence them against the proposal. Well, maybe he's here to support me. I doubt that, sir. I think he's here to sabotage the vote by sheer force of personality. Ask the Speaker to speed up voting. I can't do that, Mr. President. I'm worried there is already a time limit and we are abiding by the rules. Assembly members are used to the process. Suddenly, Lucian pulled me aside. We do. Points at the back of the Assembly near one of the exits. I followed his finger to see Tarkin Sol sitting there. He looked much older than he had 5 years ago, but I could tell he had the same fire in him. Some MPs already gathered around him and were chatting in awe. The Assembly gradually went quiet as people started to notice Sol's presence in the hall. I'll go talk to him. We should refrain from giving him the spotlight he expects. Maybe you can dress him after the vote. As I was talking to Lucian, I spotted Kibner walking to the back of the hall towards Tarkin Sol. He bowed in front of Sol and gave him a military salute. Seeing this, more people started to approach. Gloria came behind us. Gentlemen, why don't you get back to your seats? Let's follow the procedure. By the way, we have 251 members today. As you can see, the Member of Honour is here. He has already cast his vote. Is he now? How many votes are missing? Only a few. Albin Clavin and other 3 other members approached us with envelopes in their hand. And these must be them. Good day to you, gentlemen, Madam Speaker. Good day, Mr. Calvin. I'm sorry it took so long, Mr. President. There was a friend who needed more clarification for his vote. He gestured to the men behind him. Let's get to know it, gentlemen. They went inside and cast their votes.
Let's win this, Mr. President. He walked to his seat and with his fist in the air. Oh, why don't you two get back to your seats as well? Very well, we shall. We both went back to our seats, and when I returned to the mezzanine, we saw Peter sitting in the chair next to mine. Did you cast your vote? Yes, of course. He looked at Gloria as she and her assistant counted the votes. The speaker's seat was only a few metres away. I really hope the proposal goes through. I hope so too. Let's see. He tried to get Gloria's attention by waving. How many votes left? Gloria looked at Peter and she looked annoyed. It's looking pretty good. 20 more Sorry, it's Margaret Thatcher. It's looking pretty good. It was so bad. It's looking pretty good. 20 more votes to count. I nearly went Matt Berry there. Peter turned to me. Oh, thank God. That's great. Peter pointed where Franz Richter was sitting. Looks like Friends over there is in our corner. Not over yet, let's not get overexcited. Oh, well. A single bang from the gavel reverberated across the hall, and everyone fell silent. The voting has been concluded. I leaned forward to hear the results. The proposal has 179 ayes and 72 nays. Thereby, the Grand National Assembly has surpassed 2/3 majority and accepted the change to the Constitution. Thank God for that. The proposal will be presented to the Supreme Court shortly for the final voting procedure. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. Yes! We did it! Thank you for your hard work, Peter. The MPs kept shouting in the hall. Among them I heard Franz Richter's voice. I want to congratulate the members of the Assembly and the President for finally passing changes to our dusty constitution. I also want to thank members of the United Swordsman Party for working with our party. I hereby invite the Supreme Court to do the right thing by not ignoring the decision of the Grand National Assembly that was elected by the Swedish people. Loud applause came from the progressive seats, but suddenly I noticed Harkin slowly rising from his seat at the back. He seemed to be struggling and used his cane for help. He stood and gazed around the hall as all of the members of the Assembly went silent. Keep watching. He walked to the exit as two of his guards held the door for him. Thank God he didn't do anything. In any case, the proposal has passed the Assembly, but now we have to think about the Supreme Court. I'll talk to key figures in the court. Hawke will be a problem. It's our best to divide the old guard vote is Garcia. He is the most corrupt person I've ever known. After I talked with Peter about the vote, we both left the hall to discuss our next steps, and we waited for Serge by the entrance. It's so weird, because throughout the conversations I had with other politicians, the progressives seemed like against it the whole way, and from very early on the nationalists were like, yeah, you're not giving too much away, this is pretty good. So, yeah, pretty confused about that one, but there we go. Whoop whoop, yeah, I know, that's pretty good. Constitutional change passed by the Assembly. Richter congratulates President, and new Constitution passes the Assembly. Hooray! Can we fix the economy now? Oh, honestly. Right, let's have a meeting. Goodness me, that was stressful. Lucy and Peter and I convened on the massive balcony of the palace. It's nice to catch the breeze in the increasing summer heat. Both had grins on their faces, but Peter's got larger as he kept recounting our success. Fellas, the first obstacle has been cleared. Congratulations to us. Well, we can celebrate once it's past court. The President's right. The Assembly was the easy part. Oh, God. Peter leaned on the balcony railing. What about Tarkin Sol? Did you see him again? As far as I know, he is still staying in Holsword, but he hasn't cared to pay any respects to President Rain yet. What the hell was that about anyway? Him appearing out of nowhere. He came to the Assembly to make a statement, but we still won the vote. He joined the constitutional vote. I think it's perfectly normal that he'd come out for this. You're right, sir, but as long as he's here in Holsword, he can create problems. But let's move on. Yes, we have the first hurdle cleared, but now the Council of Grumpy Old Men are in the way. I have to say, I think it is fitting description for the court, but unfortunately for us, there are more than that. They're our largest obstacle. Also, you're forgetting about Mrs. Edmonds. They're not all grumpy old men. And Miss Mona, she's technically a member too. Wait, did you just call Nia a grumpy old woman? He laughed. Lucian looked at him with raised eyebrows. Anyway, about the court. Miss Mogner has been helping out with the lobbying of the courts. Oh god, I need to go to my microphone. She has been speaking with Mrs. Edmonds, and we believe she is the key figure to us on the inside. I suppose it depends how well the whip system works in this universe. I don't think there is one, to be honest. Our lobbying efforts are continuing positively, but they have yet to yield concrete results. It will be ultimately up to Miss Mogner, and you will have to persuade the justices, sir. And Tories have less than 50 in Parliament. In most of the rich parts of the country, they will still say they're coming back. Got to admire Kemi's ability to make Tories irrelevant by celebrating it. I mean, to be honest, they're in their 20s. Like, I think we've got to get past discounting them at this point. They are getting destroyed in actual elections, but, well, it's still a very volatile position. We're not, especially at this point, we can't guarantee we'll stay in the lead. So, yeah, still more fighting to do on that side. And that's exactly why Reform came out with the website having a go at the Tories, saying, like, do not forget. I think that's good politics. We already have Nia inside the cut. That's 1 vote out of 11. Leaves 5 more. Well, Nia has the ears of the Justice Dalton and Martin, so we could assume we have their support as well. So that's 3 votes. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but Mrs. Mogner cannot do this alone. Let's not forget about Mr. Hawker and his loyalists. We still need to reach out to the Old Guard and the moderates in order to reach 6 votes. Do you reckon we can do that? We've come this far. I suppose anything's possible. If we cannot get Mrs. Edmonds' centrists, we will have no choice but to get the Old Guard. That was too close for comfort. I can't believe we made it through. There's at least some pressure on the court now. God still sees us as a threat. Will not be persuaded so easily. Well, we never thought it'd be easy, so nothing's changed. That's true, sir. In any case, we shall start with our best bet. I've already asked Nia to arrange a meeting with Mrs. Edmonds. She will be willing to speak with you. It's a good start. If she's willing to talk, she's willing to cooperate. I'm sure you'll convince her. Lucian slowly turned around and pointed to the side of the entrance to the balcony. Look who's coming. It was Franz Rector. He slightly walked up to us with a smile. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Good afternoon, Mr. Richter. We're doing good and enjoying the victories of the Assembly. Oh yes, I should congratulate you again for passing the proposal. You do deserve it. We should also thank you for your efforts. You were the tremendous assistance. Franz bowed his head slightly in response. I'm looking forward to having many more cooperations between us, and victories. He leaned towards me and lowered his voice. I also hope you will do something about the promise at some point, Mr. President. Lucian Peter looked at me, and I could feel Lucian's suspicious gaze. The time will come. I'll be waiting. He straightened up again. I wish you good luck with the Supreme Court. I have conversed with Miss Mogner and Justice Zizek. We will have at least 3 justices supporting the proposal. We must be united if we want to break them. We must be seen as united more than ever. Therefore, I'd like to propose a proper alliance for the next election, or in-depth collaboration throughout the rest of the current term. Alliance with the main opposition is too big of a deal. I'm afraid it's not an option. Yeah, I can't do a uniparty moment. As I expected. Thank you for the offer nevertheless. Friends reached down in his pockets and fumbled with the handkerchief and wiped spread off his forehead. Anyway, I'll leave you 3 to it. We shall catch up soon. I'd rather get back inside now, the sun is getting intense. He walked back to the door and left the balcony. Look at him go, he's such a clown. He seriously wanted an alliance with the USP? That's new. He wants to take credit for the new constitution. It passes, that is. He's overestimating himself. He has a tendency to play the nice guy when not playing the victim. I think it's time to conclude this meeting, sir. I was then a tap on my shoulder. Olivia Suno had joined us on the balcony. Pardon the interruption, gentlemen. Mr. President, David Weiss is calling about the upcoming foreign policy meeting. Alright, I'll be right there. I will, sir. She turned to leave the balcony, then back to us. Congratulations on the victory, Mr. Rain. Peter. She looked at Peter in the eyes as she said this and ignored Lucian altogether. Peter's eyes followed her as she walked out. It's getting pretty hot out here. I need a drink. I can help you with that if you want. I'm finished with the arrangements, of course. After I'm finished with the arrangements. Of course, find me when you're done, we'll go have a nice whiskey. Wait, my mouth's already watering. He laughed. Alright, gentlemen. See you later. Cool. Well, if I don't know any better, I'd say leaving the economy in the worst state that I possibly could have left it in is a great way to end it. How the hell are we still in this massive recession? Is this because of all the debt I was in? Because I was told by Grimm that it's okay to be in a bit of debt, but I'm starting to think that that wasn't quite true. Luckily, the seaport should bring in massive amounts of investment and trade opportunity, so there we go. Anyway, it has been 2 hours, and I think that is about as much stress as my heart can take tonight. So, thank you all very much for watching. There will be Laughing at the Guardian on Saturday. My brother will be joining us, so we will have someone on the Labour side. Well, he's not really a Labour supporter, he's more an apathetic centre-lefty than anything. So, do look forward to that. He will have bad things to say about Farage, so see how it goes. There might even be a Star Wars chat, who knows. There's probably a part of the polls that overestimate the Tories as well. Besides members and boomers, nobody wants them back. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Jemrick and Danny Kruger leaving, that's sort of the philosophical core of the party gone. The rest of it's going to be effectively rats in a sack doing what Labour want anyway, just with a bit more free market. So, there you go. Anyway, should be a video tomorrow, I hope. Honestly, depends how busy I am. But if I don't manage to make one, there will definitely be one Friday, because I'm a little bit freer then. And then Saturday, there will be Laughing at the Guardian with some whamming. So, do look forward to that. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much to, God, what was his name? Terry the Tiger or something? Tony Tiger for throwing your money my way. I do very much appreciate it, and obviously encourage everyone else to throw any money they can as well. But your support and your company during these streams are all I ask for. This is I enjoy these streams quite a lot. I feel like it's when I'm the most myself, if you know what I mean. So thank you for coming along. Right. Anyway, enough of that soppy stuff. With that, thank you all very much for watching. Until next time.